the release of one of the greatest songs ever composed by country music legend. Vince Gill propelled him to the position of most decorated country musician in history. Tragedies and difficult times have marred his personal life, despite his many accolades and achievements. Then, in a chain reaction, Vince Gill revealed the devastating news that altered the course of his life. For what reasons has he been so crushed by these details? Watch this film with us as we reveal the lowest points of his life. First, let's get the lowdown on his legendary career and how he joined the Eagles. The early career of Vince Gill. Norman, Oklahoma is the site of Vince Gill's birth on April 12, 1957, a little village that would provide the groundwork for his formative years and musical career. His dad, J. Stanley Gill, had a dual career as a lawyer and a musician. Having a father who loved music had a profound impact on Vince from a young age, especially country and bluegrass. The sound of Stanley's banjo and guitar would fill the house on a regular basis, as he delighted in playing music that he loved. His mother, Jaren Gill, was a homemaker who did a wonderful job of keeping the family united, offering love and encouragement, and encouraging Vince to pursue his dreams. Older half-brother Bob Gill was an important figure in Vince's formative years. Vince owes a great debt of gratitude to Bob for exposing him to a wide range of musical styles and genres. Bob had a profound effect on young Vince by playing guitar, which piqued his interest in picking up the instrument. Since his dad loved playing instruments like the guitar and banjo, Vince's musical interests began at a young age. Vince was already committed to perfecting his skills as an adolescent. He played in a number of ensembles during high school, the most prominent of which was the bluegrass ensemble Mountain Smoke. He was able to explore his interest in fusing bluegrass with rock, a style that was becoming popular at the time, with this band. As Mountain Smoke gained a solid local following, Vince's musical prowess became more widely acknowledged. Regular appearances in school-sponsored talent shows and music contests helped Vince hone his technical abilities and gain self-assurance as a performer. Vince knew by the time he graduated that he wanted to make a career out of it, not just dabble in it. In the mid-1970s, immediately following his high school graduation, Vince Gill departed from his home in Oklahoma for Louisville and Kentucky. For an aspiring young musician, it was a giant step toward becoming fluent in bluegrass. What tragic news does Vince Gill have to offer? And how did his career skyrocket to stardom? Find out by continuing to watch. Vince Gill's successful solo career. In the early 1970s, Vince Gill got his start in the music industry as a sincere country singer and bluegrass musician. He was completely devoted to his work and never looked back. Joining the soft rock band Pure Prairie League in 1978 was the turning point in his career. Vince had a significant impact on the band's sound and progress during his tenure as lead vocalist from 1978 until 1982. He was the lead singer, songwriter, and producer of several successful singles, the most famous of which is his tenure with Pure Prairie League served as a crucial stepping stone, providing him with a foundation for his future musical endeavors and instilling in him the self-assurance to perform with poise and conviction. Vince took over as lead guitarist for Rodney Crowell's band, the Cherry Bombs, following Pure Prairie League's breakup. His brief yet formative experience with the Cherry Bombs broadened his musical perspectives. By 1984, Vince was ready to seek complete creative independence in the country music genre and break out on his own. Because he was confident in himself and his abilities, Vince ventured out on his own. Not long after signing with RCA Records Nashville, he began releasing records at a rapid pace. He was unfazed by the lack of success that resulted from his early solo endeavors. As time went on, Vince honed his sound and became known as an expert in his field. His career took a turn for the better in 1989 when he gained the ear of MCA Nashville. After signing with the label, Vince was able to release his breakthrough album, When I Call Your Name, in 1990, with the title tune serving as the album's lead single. He shot to fame after this record, which catapulted him into the mainstream of country music. Vince has 65 singles that reached number 65 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart in the 90s, making him a regular fixture there. From 1992 through 1994, he had 4 solo successes that reached number 1, I Still Believe in You, Don't Let Our Love Start Slipping Away, One More Last Chance, and Trying to Get Over You. He became a country music sensation because to these tunes, collaboration played a role in Vince's career as well. The Heart Won't Lie, a duet he recorded in 1993 with Reba McEntire, was another successful single. Along with his solo efforts, he continued to collaborate with other artists, including Chris Young on Sober Saturday Night and 2016's Forever Country, an all-star collaboration. The Recording Industry Association of America, YABA, reports that all of his albums from the 1990s were platinum certified or higher, indicating that they were all massive hits. His most successful album to date, I Still Believe in You, achieved quintuple platinum certification. Meanwhile, Vince is the most decorated male solo country singer in Grammy history, having collected an impressive 22 awards. He continued on his journey. He joined the Western swing group The Time Jumpers in 2010. How did he go from performing solo to joining a huge band? It's time to jump right in. Becoming part of the Eagles. Irving Azoff, the famed band The Eagles manager, had a tragic conversation with Vince Gill. Even though he didn't know why the call was so urgent, Vince Gill quietly answered it nevertheless. Everything changed when Irving told him that. He was courted to join the Eagles by the band. Vince briefly considered the possibility that it might be a joke. He was sought after by the Eagles, a legendary band known for their innumerable classic songs, to replace Glenn Frey, who had been a key figure in the group's inception and composition. Almost unreal was the feeling. For many years, Vince had admired the Eagles for their groundbreaking music, powerful vocals, and catchy tunes. Vince was expected to step into the footsteps of Glenn Frey, who had treasured the values represented by the Eagles. A thought occurred to him as he was taking in the news. Why me? He was confident in his ability to harmonize with the Eagles due to his musical abilities, vocals, and guitar talents. It was a heavy weight to tread in Glenn Frey's shoes. When it came to the Eagles, Glenn was more than just a musician. Vince was uncertain about his abilities. Vince's mind wandered to his personal adventure. Years of hard work, successful singles, numerous awards, and a devoted fan base have culminated in a solo career. The opportunity to join the Eagles was too good to pass up, even though it would force him to abandon the career he had worked so hard to build as a solo artist. The opportunity to join one of the most legendary bands of all time presented itself to him. He had grown up listening to their music. Anxiety and excitement were both triggered by the offer. He felt a mix of gratitude and unease about the implications for his future. Despite the honor, subsequently, he addressed the question that had been bothering him to Irving. Just why did they pick me? Vince was caught unawares by Irving's response. The Eagles' co-founder and musical director, Don Henley, cast Vince in the role. According to Henley, when Vince performed with the band, the audience would witness a musician who deeply valued the band's history and the songs they had created together throughout the years. Vince exhibited the same fervor and dedication to the Eagles as Glenn, according to Henley. Maintaining the band's and Glenn Frey's legacy was more important than replacing a position. This was more than just a band audition to Vince. It was an opportunity to embark on a new chapter in his life while contributing to one of the most illustrious musical legacies ever. In order to be a member of the Eagles, what were some of the hidden obstacles he had to overcome? Find out by continuing to watch. Struggles, criticisms, and adjustments. Vince Gill's transition to the Eagles was a significant one. He had always maintained complete creative autonomy as a solo artist, from selecting his compositions to making all significant decisions. However, upon joining the Eagles, he was required to adapt to a completely new role that came with its own set of expectations and requirements. Filling the vacuum left by Glenn Frey, one of the band's founding members and a critical component of their sound and identity, was the ultimate challenge. His passing left a substantial void, as Glenn's voice and manner had been integral to the Eagles. Vince was aware that he could not entirely replace Glenn, but he was resolute in his commitment to uphold his legacy and also to contribute his own voice. This was a challenging endeavor. The skepticism of longtime supporters regarding Vince's ability to honor Glenn's memory was understandable. He experienced that weight each time he rehearsed and entered the stage. He was aware that the Eagles' history was extensive and that supporters had high expectations for any new member. Vince's most significant adjustment was relearning how to function as a member of a group. Having previously operated independently for years, he was now required to collaborate with others, share the limelight, and honor the Eagles' established sound. It was a precarious equilibrium, as he sought to maintain his identity while also acknowledging the band's history. Vince's inaugural performance with the Eagles was an intensely emotive experience. This was not merely another concert. It was a moment that held significant value for the band's devoted followers, as it was replete with history, respect, and legacy. Vince's passion was poured into every note, and the audience could sense the significance of the moment. The band's cohesion was influenced by the distinct personalities of each member. Don Henley was a steadfast, visionary leader. Joe Walsh contributed an unpredictable, free-spirited vitality. Timothy B. Schmidt was a diplomat and a composed individual, frequently resolving conflicts as they occurred. Initially, Vince retreated to observe and comprehend the band's dynamics. He observed their meticulous approach to the creative process, with each lyric and note scrupulously considered. This meticulous attention to detail not only established the Eagles as legends, but it also increased the burden. Vince experienced moments of genuine connection with his new companions off stage, which were characterized by laughter and storytelling. These experiences facilitated his sense of belonging. Nevertheless, he also perceived the band's intricate history. Vince's voice harmoniously interacted with the other members of the band, imbuing the classic compositions with a fresh energy while maintaining their original essence. His vocals infused the cherished songs with a subtle, warm country twang in tracks such as Tequila Sunrise and Take It to the Limit, resulting in a fresh and authentic feel. Fans perceived that Vince was revitalizing the music they had cherished for years, and many were unable to get enough. His guitar playing was also a standout feature of the band's performances. Vince Gill's recruitment by the Eagles elicited a variety of responses from supporters. While some were delighted to witness the band embark on a new chapter with such a renowned musician, others were uncertain about someone else assuming Glenn Frey's position. The prospect of another musician assuming Glenn's role was almost unbearable to many. This sparked discussions among followers, who expressed a variety of emotions, including uncertainty and enthusiasm. Many devoted admirers held Glenn's legacy in high regard and believed that the Eagles would be significantly diminished without him. They were concerned that the band's essence could be altered by the addition of a new member, even one as talented as Vince. Social media was abuzz with conversations, as some supporters expressed their dissatisfaction and others defended Vince's position in the band. Vince responded to the criticism with humility, underscoring that his presence was not intended to emulate or supplant Glenn. Instead, he concentrated on being authentic, and he was able to contribute his own strengths while honoring the Eagles' history. What were the most challenging instances for him, and how did he manage to survive these difficult periods? In a moment, we would ascertain the information. Internal feuds and resolution. Vince Gill encountered a critical juncture during his tenure with the Eagles when it appeared that everything was on the brink of dissolution. The band had been exerting themselves, enduring a relentless tour schedule, rehearsing for extended periods, and contending with the continuous pressure that accompanies being a member of an iconic group. The demands were substantial, and the stress was beginning to manifest in all individuals. Things took an unexpected turn one day during rehearsal. It commenced with a dispute regarding one of the Eagles' most iconic compositions. Vince had a notion for a new arrangement that would revitalize the piece while still adhering to its original spirit. However, not all individuals subscribed to his perspective. Voices were raised and emotions were running high as a simple difference of opinion rapidly escalated. Despite his sincere desire to make a significant contribution to the band he so respected, he was met with frustration and resistance from those with whom he hoped to establish a connection. He was left feeling uncertain and wounded as a result of the conflict. He began to question whether he genuinely belonged to the Eagles for the first time. Vince was consumed by the events that transpired that evening, as he was left alone in his hotel room. He had dedicated a significant amount of effort to this position, striving to integrate his own vocals into the music of the Eagles, while also paying homage to their legacy. Suddenly, an unforeseen event occurred, just as he was getting set to give up. Don Henley, who could discern Vince's emotional distress, proposed that they engage in a private conversation. Don took the opportunity to recognize the obstacles Vince was encountering while he was removed from the rehearsal room and its intensity. Don assured Vince that his contributions were significant, underscoring that the Eagles were about more than just preserving the past. However, they were also concerned with the development of artists. Vince's entire life was altered by this conversation. He left feeling more confident than ever that he belonged to the Eagles and was prepared to confront any obstacles that lie ahead as a member of a legendary band, as he felt understood and valued. How much wealth does Vince Gill possess, and what other endeavors is the renowned guitarist engaged in? Please remain attentive as we discover the answer. Vince Gill's net worth and other ventures. The net worth of Vince Gill, an American country musician, is $30 million. This figure is the result of a combined fortune with his wife, Amy Grant, a fellow country vocalist whom he married in 2000. Gill has established himself as the nicest guy in Nashville due to his unwavering commitment to charitable causes and his amicable demeanor. In a Washington Post article that was also published in the Palm Beach Post, journalist Richard Harrington characterized him as ego-deficient, readily approachable, and perpetually affable. Vince Gill is an enthusiastic golfer in addition to his music career. He established the Vinny Pro Celebrity Golf Invitational in 1993, a charitable event that provides financial support to children's golf programs in Tennessee. He received the Distinguished Service Award from the Professional Golfers Association of America in 2003 in recognition of his endeavors to advance this cause. Gill has also been involved in humanitarian endeavors, most notably organizing a concert in 1995 to raise funds for the American Red Cross in the aftermath of the catastrophic Oklahoma City bombing. He is attributed with supporting over 60 charities in total, including All for the Hall, an annual benefit concert that raises funds for the Country Music Hall of Fame. Gill's dedication to the music industry and the community is further illustrated by his ownership of a recording studio in Nashville, Tennessee, where Vince and Amy reside. Currently, what are some of his vocal moments and activism within the music industry? Continue to observe to ascertain the answer. Vince Gill's criticisms and controversies. Legendary artist Vince Gill expressed his dissatisfaction with the direction the genre has taken during an impassioned conversation about country music that surrounded the industry. He elaborated, "Country music has truly lost its classic style, in my opinion. And he yearns for the type of storytelling that characterizes songs, as opposed to the contemporary trend of simplistic lyrics, such as to Vince. These trends are exhausting to listen to. The broader music industry's changes, particularly the impact of shifting revenue sources on artists' incomes, are also a source of concern for Gill. Record sales have experienced a significant decline from their previous levels. He is apprehensive about the implications of these changes for musicians today as he contemplates the future." Gill was unsurprised when asked about the Titanium Club in country music, the industry's close-knit, exclusive nature. During an interview on CBS This Morning, nevertheless, his anger was not directed at specific individuals, but rather at the industry as a whole, which he perceives as frequently exclusionary and biased. He emphasized that previous analyses have depicted country music as a genre that is dominated by white males. However, he remains optimistic about the possibility of change. In the same way that black artists occasionally experience exclusion in other genres, he recognized that women and black artists frequently experience feelings of unwelcomeness in country music. Gill acknowledged that he did not possess all the answers, but he underscored the significance of striving for a more inclusive industry. Gill also addressed the controversy surrounding Morgan Wallen's use of a racial slur, conveying his disappointment and sorrow over the occurrence. Gill disagreed with the defense of Wallen, who was defended by some who cited the similarity of language used in rap music. He clarified that the history of black Americans in a predominantly white society has rendered such terms profoundly offensive and painful. He stated that it does not belong, citing the ongoing division and pain that are associated with such language. Gill commended T.J. Osborne of Brothers Osborne for his courageous decision to disclose his sexual orientation, stating that it could serve as an inspiration for other country musicians to address social issues. He further stated that the country music audience is frequently perceived as conservative. However, this does not necessitate that artists align themselves with these perspectives. Gill is of the opinion that artists have the ability to challenge the status quo by utilizing their voices, thereby promoting inclusivity and growth within the genre. In addition to the allure of the stage and his performances, what is the specifics of Vince Gill's personal life? Let us investigate. Vince Gill's personal life and marriages. In April 1980, Vince Gill married singer Janice Oliver, who subsequently combined with her sister Christine to establish the country duo Sweethearts of the Rodeo. Vince penned numerous compositions about his relationship with Janice during their marriage, such as The Radio and Everybody's Sweetheart. Nevertheless, the couple divorced in 1997, citing irreconcilable differences. Their 17-year marriage was terminated by their separation, and Janice was granted possession of their daughter, Jennifer Jenny Gill. Jenny continued to follow in her parents' musical footsteps by providing vocals for her father's albums, such as Let There Be Peace on Earth. Vince's album The Key was perceived by critics, including Steve Huey from AllMusic, as a reflection of his sentiments regarding the divorce. Vince initiated a romantic relationship with Amy Grant, a vocalist who had recently divorced Gary Chapman in 1999. On March 10, 2000, Vince and Amy exchanged vows. He was engaged in the production of his album, Let's Make Sure We Kiss Goodbye. Tom Urich, a writer for AllMusic, observed that Vince's recent romantic involvement with Amy may have had an impact on certain compositions on the album. Karina Gill, their daughter, initiated her own music career and released music online in 2023, shortly after their nuptials. Fans may recall a concerning incident that occurred on July 27, 2022, when Amy was injured in a biking accident while traveling with a friend. Amy and her friend were cycling near Harpeth Hills Golf Course in South Nashville when she fell off her cycle at approximately 3 p.m. According to local news, she was promptly transported to Vanderbilt University Medical Center by emergency services. Amy was fortunate to be wearing a helmet, which likely prevented her from suffering more severe injuries. Although she sustained wounds and abrasions, she maintained a stable condition. Amy utilized Instagram to express her gratitude to her supporters for their encouragement and to furnish updates regarding her recuperation subsequent to the accident. She stated that she would require additional time to recuperate, which resulted in the rescheduling of several tour dates in cities such as Knoxville, Chattanooga, Johnson City, and Wilmington. These dates were rescheduled for April and June of 2023. Vince provided the audience with information regarding Amy's tragedy during a residency performance at the Ryman Auditorium on August 4, 2022. He expressed his relief that she had been wearing a helmet, stating that she was momentarily unconscious for approximately 10 to 15 minutes after the fall. Vince expressed his gratitude for Amy's recovery by assuring the audience that she was doing well. What other tragedy has befallen Vince in recent years? We are about to discover the answer. Vince Gill's financial woes and online scam. Vince Gill disclosed in a recent interview that he has experienced substantial financial losses in the stock market, which amount to more than $5 million. In 2021, he initiated his investment voyage by investing $500,000 in Blue Sky Tech, which led to a substantial setback. Gill invested $700,000 in renewable energy solutions in 2022, but the investment was unsuccessful due to regulatory hurdles and supply chain disruptions, resulting in a $400,000 loss. Additionally, he invested $600,000 in cryptocurrency trading, resulting in a $300,000 loss during a market decline. In late 2021, Gill suffered his most significant loss when he invested $1 million in Cine World Entertainment, which resulted in a staggering $900,000 loss. Ultimately, in early 2023, he invested $800,000 in Home Good Depot, which resulted in a $700,000 loss as the company struggled and ultimately went insolvent. In a separate incident, an elderly admirer of Vince Gill was the victim of a sophisticated online scam. Jackie, the daughter of the woman who was impacted, shared her narrative on Scammer Stories. She observed her mother, who resided alone, behaving peculiarly during their Christmas supper, which prompted her to investigate the situation further. Jackie discovered a Google chat conversation on her mother's phone with an individual who was posing as Vince Gill. She suspected that the fraudster had identified her mother through social media, as she frequently commented on the singer's posts. Jackie clarified that she and her family members made an effort to intervene and prevent her mother from sending additional funds. Nevertheless, it was evident that her mother was 100% misled into believing that she was in genuine communication with the genuine Vince Gill. By that time, her mother had already drained 3 distinct bank accounts and had even requested that a friend lend her additional funds to the scammer. Jackie observed that the scammer concocted a harrowing narrative regarding Gill's marital difficulties, which served to reinforce her mother's conviction in the hoax. The police and elder organizations' efforts to assist her mother in acknowledging the reality of the situation were unsuccessful, despite their involvement. Jackie ultimately reached out to Gill's public relations team for help, but she did not receive a response. Jackie now oversees her mother's finances and closely monitors her expenditures in order to prevent her from becoming further entangled in the scam. What is the devastating news that Vince Gill has received that has left him in a state of despair? Let us investigate. Heartbreaking news for Vince Gill. Vince Gill was temporarily hospitalized in 2018 as a result of a renal stone, which prevented him from attending the CMA Awards. Gill was scheduled to participate in a star-studded tribute to bluegrass legend and recently inducted Country Music Hall of Famer Ricky Skaggs, as reported by The Boot. Although Keith Urban, who subsequently received the Country Music Association's Entertainer of the Year award, joined Skaggs on guitar to perform the classic Highway 40 blues, Skaggs disclosed backstage that Urban was not initially scheduled to participate in the performance. Despite Gill's absence, the tribute to Skaggs continued, emphasizing the influence of both artists on the country music scene. Gill's absence from this exceptional occasion was undoubtedly a source of disappointment for his fans and fellow musicians. One of the most influential tunes of Vince Gill's career is "Go Rest High on That Mountain." The song, which was released in 1995, has resonated with a vast number of admirers due to its sincere message, which was derived from a profound personal loss. Vince initiated the composition of the song in 1989, shortly following the passing of Keith Whitley, a fellow country vocalist. Nevertheless, he could not complete it until his elder half-brother, Bob Cohen, passed away in 1993, which was many years later. The family was already struggling with the loss of Bob for years when he passed away at the age of 48 due to a heart attack, which reopened old traumas. Vince's initial musical collaborator was Bob Cohen, and the two brothers formed a strong connection over their mutual appreciation for the guitar. When Vince was only 8 years old, they even performed the Beach Boys' Long Tall Texan on a local radio station. However, their lives were drastically altered when Bob, at the age of 22, was involved in a catastrophic automobile accident. He collided with a semi-truck while traveling at a high rate of speed of 120 miles per hour following a night of excessive drinking. Bob was left with severe cerebral injuries and spent months in a coma. He endured the repercussions of cerebral trauma and memory loss for the duration of his life. Despite managing to survive against all odds, Bob encountered considerable difficulty in reconstructing his life subsequent to the catastrophe. In 2022, Vince disclosed to interviewer Dan Rather that Bob would frequently vanish for extended periods, only to be discovered at homeless missions. Bob returned home in his final years and remained in close proximity to their mother, who provided him with care. Vince fondly recalled that the impact of Bob's life and struggles also inspired Vince's charitable efforts when reflecting on his sibling. Vince performed at a benefit concert in Mobile, Alabama in 2013 to raise $200,000 for the Mobile Rescue Mission, which provides assistance to the destitute. He clarified that he frequently contemplates his sibling when he observes an individual in need. Vince stated, "That is the source of my enthusiasm for this," observing that he perceives Bob's expression in the expressions of those seeking assistance. Vince's dedication to charitable endeavors and his music continued to perpetuate Bob Cohen's legacy. Go Rest High on That Mountain is a tribute to all those who have been lost too soon, as well as to Keith Whitley and Bob Cohen. What are your thoughts on Vince Gill's challenges and the disheartening news? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. I am grateful for your attention to this video. We trust that you found it to be intriguing. Please remember to like and subscribe. To remain informed about your preferred celebrity narratives, simply select the subsequent video displayed on your screen. I look forward to seeing you there.